I kid you not, they were the size of my finger around and 3 feet long. And
it would be after the tick bite.
You don't remember much about that. You were busy with the llamas.
I was.
And ask him to do something, and don't want to because he is the youngest, and we love him very much. But you would just, I'll just do it. Mm-hmm. And you would just do it. And I know there was one time I looked at you and said, you know, you're creating a monster. Because if you keep doing this, he's going to always expect you to do it. You need to let him get into trouble. But you've always been that one trying to keep the peace. You have always been Serena, our peacemaker, which I think lives up to your name.
I just want to point something out, completely off subject. You were worried about saying where you lived while you were wearing.
I know, I didn't realize that. Okay. Anyways. Yeah, we're new at this whole thing and we're trying to protect the guilty and innocent.
Well, there are no innocents here.
The only guilty they're trying to protect are themselves.
So, how do you think, with Dad's health, how do you feel now?
Just in general?
Yeah.
Let me rephrase that question into something a little more specific. How do you feel in general it is going to affect you going forward? How is my health going to affect you going forward?
Well,
how does it? Yeah.
Deep subject.
I know I'm almost constantly, at least a little bit, aware of, like, I could get a call in a second saying, like, Dad's in the hospital again.
You're constantly aware of mortality and how it's going to affect you directly.
Yeah.
Now, I know the summer before you going off to college.
Oh, that was a rough summer.
That was the summer that I had my surgery and it went haywire, as we like to call. Took a turn for the worst. And I know we relied on you way more. We've talked about that. We relied, and I hated it. And that added to your anxiety.
Right. But me knowing that you didn't like it makes it easier for me to...
Oh, I'm so glad that I was able to make it easier that way. Okay. And of course, we've talked about how during all that time, Dad decided he didn't like the fact that I was getting all the attention and had to have his gallbladder taken out. So you had a time there with both of us, and you were getting ready to go to college.
Yeah.
And that was a lot of anxiety for you.
Yeah. Especially because with your wound opening, we didn't know if it would be all healed up when I had to go, or what was really going on there.
Yeah. How did you feel leaving? I mean, let's put your anxiety aside, but here's a time that you're supposed to...
There's something that's not going to...
I know, but not talking anxiety-wise, okay? Other feelings. This is supposed to... You're supposed to go out on your own, and it's supposed to be a fun time for you.
Mm-hmm.
And going away. And I know you've never done well with change anyways, but it was still a big step there too. How did you...
The idea of leaving, I felt like
I'm down over there next to you.
That was the plan. That's what I thought I did.
I don't know why she took them
I
away
don't
from
know.
you.
But, planning on leaving and everything was super stressful. And, well, I don't do well with the unknown.
Yes.
And at that point, there was a lot of unknowns. And so I felt torn.
Mm-hmm.
between going and doing what I needed to do for me, and
Have you ever felt that you wanted to stay, but you needed to go?
and so that was really hard for me to be okay with leaving.
Do you think, because Dad and I tried really hard, what, if anything, could we have done to try to make that easier for you? I know we would say, we are going to be okay. I mean, I would look at you and say, I'm going to be okay. You need to go.
Mm-hmm.
Would there have been anything else that we could have done?
Not need a hysterectomy?
Sorry. That was already said and done. So that was already done. I couldn't go back and change that.
That was kind of set in from her birth.
I'm aware.
Okay.
So, but I know we tried to make it easier for you.
Yeah.
I think when you left, within a few weeks of you leaving, things, and you knew, okay, Mom's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
Things, I got the okay to be back and do things.
Well, I know even my first and second night actually away, I felt okay.
Mm-hmm.
I was still worried, but I wasn't here, and therefore I wasn't responsible.
Okay. In your head.
Mm-hmm.
And you were never responsible.
You can keep trying to tell
I
my
know,
brain.
I just need to say that. You were never responsible. And I think it was hard. It's always hard on Dad. I think you've said it on the podcast that you have a hard time watching us watch you hurting.
That's a lot of watching.
I know, but you have said that.
I am a very empathic person, even though I don't play one on TV. And because of how my parents raised me, and because of the family that I was brought up in, and because of the way things were explained to me, the way I was trained, however you want to put it, I always felt that I should carry my own water, if you will. And not being able to do that for whatever reason costs me emotionally. And not frustration builds. So if that makes sense, you get it. If it doesn't make sense to you, I don't know how to explain it.
So you just finished your second year away.
Yeah.
At college. And how was the second year going compared to the first year? Leaving us and seeing things.
Compared to the first year, piece of cake.
Piece of cake. Okay.
And not making the cake either.
No.
But eating it.
Yeah. So, but I mean, we do have to say, in the last couple of years, Dad has not had any major.
Yeah.
Things.
The last couple
I mean,
years have been, things have kind of settled.
With surgery wise, but in the last couple of years too, you being away, have you noticed changes when you come back with how Dad's getting along and different things?
Yeah.
Of doing the day-to-day things.
I still know that it frustrates him that he can't do things, but I've also noticed that he's come to terms with it more.
Okay. Do you notice things that, have you seen him, watching him, see him things that it's gotten worse for him, like
walking. I guess even like eating using silverware.
Has there been anything that, you know, like being away and then coming back and all of a sudden looking at him going, wow, that's a big thing right now, a difference
I don't think
at
so.
any point in the last couple of years?
I think because of the way that, because of us moving into town and having less to do, chore-wise, it seems to have, like, slowed dramatically
Okay.
the progression. And because of that, none of what I see is like, that's not what I was expecting.
Okay. Anything you want to?
No, I'm just having a spasm in my leg right now, which is.
Okay. So when growing up, there was time. I mean, Dad. We talked about Dad. There was a time there that there was lots of anger, and it would come out. How did you deal with that?
I just tried to fly under the radar.
Okay. And like you said before, try not to make any waves.
Yep. Yeah.
But with my superior Soviet targeting system,
You picked up
I
on
could
all the
always
way.
find it.
The tiniest ripple.
So
Think of dropping a hair in a small puddle.
no, it was the butter wrapper.
Well, yes, that would be the hair in the small puddle.
Okay.
Yeah, butter wrapper. Suddenly there are blueberries on the wall.
I forgot about the.
That was a formative experience in my life.
Well, talk about that. Explain that.
Tell the whole story.
What were we? Were we making like blueberry cobbler?
No, you're freezing the blueberries.
Oh, is that what we were doing? Yeah. I thought we were cooking them.
No.
We might have been cooking some of them.
Yeah, because they were definitely.
We were cooking. I think
something.
there was a few, and that we were making a blueberry syrupy something to like blueberry pie filling type thing to put on ice cream.
Ice cream. That's what it was.
After freezing a bunch of blueberries.
Yes. Oh, okay. I thought it was.
They were previously frozen, but I know they were cooked because they stuck to the wall.
Mm-hmm. So let's explain that one.
So I think what set that one off was butter wrappers again.
Okay. But
is that what you remember, Dad?
I'm not even sure I remember it.
That's fair. Yeah. So I think there were butter wrappers on the counter. Dad started yelling. Mom tried to calm him down. It escalated. They were both yelling. I think Dad had like picked the pan up and just like slammed it on the stove. Hard. Yeah. And then he ended up like storming out and going for a drive. Which of course then after Mom was emotional. And I just remember not knowing what to do.
If it makes you feel any better, I didn't know what to do other than be cleaning up the blueberries and stuff.
Let's shut off the stove, take it out, and clean up all the blueberries from behind it.
Mm-hmm.
I think we had blueberry on the wall for like a week, though.
Yeah, I think when we moved and I did the cleaning I
think
still
we still
cleaned
had
some blueberry
blueberry.
off. Yes.
Good paint though. It didn't stain.
It did not stain the paint. That paint was very good. It was Dutch Boy.
Yep.
Oh, whoops. Yeah. It was a little.
We are not being sponsored by Dutch Boy. However, if Dutch Boy would like to sponsor us, we're totally on board with that. We will repaint our whole house.
I'm thinking, we're getting kind of long here. That maybe overall, growing up, we're going to wrap this up with this because right now, you are at the point where you just put a down payment on your own apartment.
Yep.
And you will be moving out and living on your own. And how do you really feel leaving us and knowing that when you go and that your younger brother then is going to be gone in the fall and that you guys are now going to be leaving Dad and I home alone?
Honestly, in this moment, I feel okay with it.
Okay.
In general, there's some anxiety there.
Mm-hmm.
I'd feel better if you took your dog
Sorry.
for a semester that's out.
We'll see. I don't even remember if the place allows dogs, so I know. But, yeah. In general, I think there will always be some part of me that's worried and anxious about it. The part that likes to play the what if game.
Yeah, we're really good at the what if.
So good. It's not a good thing. But
I need to remind you, like you did me, all you need to do is rely on God.
mm-hmm.
And you have that foundation. And and I know you're going to say, you're speaking to what? You're saying this and giving this advice to your daughter. You need to take your own advice. He's going to say that to me too. Anyway,
it's okay
because it's for
I've
both
likely
of us.
given you the same
it's
advice.
both of us that we need to remember we're not in control of this whole life, and none of us are going to get out of this life alive.
This is true.
And that we need to live our best effective life. I mean, basically, that's why we came up with the name. Living our best effective life, living for the moment.
I'm comedy.
You are comedy, living for our moment and enjoying the life that God has given us.
Yeah.
And we are very proud of you. And
speak for yourself.
Oh, shut up.
I know you're proud of her. We love you very
I
much.
just don't need you telling everybody that I'm proud of her. That's my job.
And at that, this is our daughter, Serena. And I'm Shannon.
And I'm throwing in the towel.
This is Scott. And we have been living our best effective life.